What's going on, everyone? Welcome into another episode of Luttie's Look Back. On today's show, we'll recap all four of the major college football programs in the state of Arkansas, tell you how they fared, how they did, some of my thoughts from all four of the games, including Arkansas's 41-35 brutal loss to Ole Miss on the road on Saturday night in Oxford. We'll start how we always do with my three big things from the Razorback game. The first one, defense. It's much worse than expected, I'm afraid. The second big point, Tarleton Green, he's as good as advertised, which is good. And then the third one, Sam Pittman, now 7-18 in one-score games. Ouch. All right, let's talk about each of them. Let's go back to what really this game was about. The highlights, everything you saw, it was about the offense, and that was great. But I can't start the show with a positive, optimistic outpoint or viewpoint, I should say, from this game. It starts with the defense. The reason Arkansas lost this game was because of the defense. If you think it was because of the offense, you need to go back and watch the game. It's obviously not. I know they had that one turnover, and that was costly, and that was brutal, and that was so frustrating. I know. But there are so many other things that happened in that game to lead Arkansas to be in that game. And the offense was the reason that they were in that game. All right. But the defense as a whole is much worse than I expected, and that's discouraging because I was on the show a week ago, and I said the defense might actually be good. And I kind of knew that maybe fully wasn't true. That was just recency bias. They played good against Arkansas State. They played good for the most part against Alabama A&M in week one. They showed signs of promise and gave me a lot of confidence heading into this matchup. Now, this matchup was going to be a test to see, was the defense actually good? Can they compete against an SEC team? The good news is Ole Miss has their backup quarterback playing. Not just your average SEC backup quarterback that's been waiting his turn for forever. No, this is a guy who's never played Division I football in his life. He's been a Division II quarterback the past few seasons. Now, granted, Division II at Ferris State where they won the national championship a season ago. But he's a Division II quarterback. He's a backup quarterback. I had heard that he could run the ball. And on the first drive, I was like, okay, if he's going to run the ball, that's okay. Doesn't look like he can really pass it. And then that changed pretty quickly. He found out how bad Arkansas' secondary was, and we also found out how bad Arkansas' secondary was. Again, I had confidence in this defense somewhat, especially going up against a backup D2 quarterback who joined the program 4 months ago. He transferred in the spring portal, and he joined this Ole Miss program as the backup. Now, he was highly recruited. He was a big get for Lane Kiffin, but he's a Division II quarterback, and he's torching an SEC defense. That's not good, right? That's frustrating. This defense is much worse than I expected, and now it's just a game. It's just one game. I'm not ready to fire Sam Pittman. I'm not ready to set everything on fire quite yet, but my expectations are quite lower than what I originally thought. I knew it was going to be the offense is really good and the defense is not as good, but I didn't know the defense was just going to be bad. Defensive line never getting any pressure on Shambles. The secondary just wasn't there. Linebackers making missed tackles. Xavier Sore not being like we know him to be. That's the second game out of 3 games this year where Sore's just been a little below average. And that's weird because he was your go-to returning player. He was the guy on the defense. And he comes out and he's just been disappointing in some of these games. It was bad. The defense was bad. That was the reason Arkansas lost this game. So that was disappointing. Those are some of my thoughts on the defense. Before I get to my other 2 thoughts, let's hear what head coach Sam Pittman had to say about his defense's performance.
We've got to communicate better. The 2 or 3 of the scores in the first half, we just had cut guys wide open, couldn't cover a back. We were checking to check. Lane's checks, and we cut all that out in the second half because we had to give our guys a chance, and We didn't open field tackle very well, especially in the first half. Couldn't cover a back and didn't put pressure on the quarterback.
All right, let's move on to something positive. Coach Pittman just mentioned the quarterback, Ole Miss's quarterback. He had a great game. So did Arkansas's. Tarleton Green is better than he was last year, which is good. So I want to just focus on a little bit of a positive for right now, because to flip viewpoints of how I've been talking the past few minutes, Arkansas went on the road in a raucous environment in the SEC, in Oxford, Mississippi, playing a top 20 ranked SEC team. Now we'll see as the season goes along how good Ole Miss actually is. But for Arkansas to go on the road and to compete, that gives you confidence. That gives you confidence. And it's hard for me to really have confidence and to say it to you, but it gives you a little bit, right? And that's because of Tarleton Green. And I think he's as good as advertised. I think he's better than he was last year. 300-plus passing yards, 100-plus rushing yards. The first Razorback ever to accomplish that, which is pretty crazy given how good Matt Jones was when he was here. 2 total touchdowns. He wasn't perfect. He had some errant throws here and there. He had technically an interception, but holding call brought it back. He had a few other balls that could have possibly been intercepted, but he didn't have any of those, hey, I'm Tarleton Green, I'm just going to run backwards and fumble the ball like he had a few times last year. That's also a credit to his offensive line. This is the best offensive line performance we've seen in a couple seasons for Arkansas. So that's good. That's promising against an Ole Miss defensive front that's pretty good, I think. It's so early in the season, so it's hard to tell, but I think Ole Miss has a decently good defensive front, and Arkansas slowed them down in the pass rush really well. Run offense not quite as much, but pass rush was good, and that led Tarleton Green to have a really good game. He found 9 different targets, Omega Blake being that go-to guy. It's unfortunate that it had to end the way it did, because this is the first game where I was like, every game last year, if Arkansas lost the turnover battle, they lost the game. And I was thinking in my mind, it's fourth quarter, and I was like, no one has turned the ball over yet. But it looked like Arkansas was going to lose. Arkansas might lose, but turnover battle, they might not lose it, And then they turn the ball over and just doing what they did last year, right? Just getting in these close games and then shooting themselves in the foot. Now, this wasn't like Jalen Brown was holding the ball out here and just got stripped out easily. No, I'll give credit to the Ole Miss DB for stripping it out. He tackled him and then he really pulled it out. So give credit to him for doing his best there, but it still stinks how it ended. And that brings me to my final points. Big point number 3, Sam Pittman. 7 wins, 18 losses in 1-possession games, 1-score games as a head coach for the Razorbacks. And the reality is that every head coach has really struggled in the past 25 years to win in these close games. It's just how they are. It'd be nice, though, in close games to win about half of them. And I'm sure Arkansas fans wouldn't be satisfied just to win half, but you would feel a little better. And there is 7, so it's like, hey, he's won 7 close games, but he's also lost 18 close games. And that's discouraging, that's disappointing, that's frustrating. And I think we're all just numb to it a little bit right now. And I also wonder, would fans rather have an average team like this where you're in close games and you just suffer the brutality, the agony of losing a close game like this, or would you rather just be awful and get crushed? Now, in the grand scheme of things, when you back up, you look at it, you're like, the answer's obvious. I would rather compete in a game, lose a close one, but have some good things to take away. I think that's how I would feel. Some of you out there would rather not have your heart broken and just watch and be like, all right, we're bad, we stink, that's fine, I'm going to go watch something else, right? You get invested in these games, you watch these games, and then they just rip your heart out. And it happens every time. And it happens with Sam Pittman as the head coach is the unfortunate thing. That's the reality of it. Now, Sam Pittman, in the post-game press conference, was asked about these 1-score games. It wasn't necessarily asked about that specifically, but that's how the question was posed at first, and then kind of transitioned to how can his team rebound going forward. Here's what he had to say.
Coach, over the last couple of years, losing by 1 score on the road is some really tough.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I mean, I don't know what I do with it. Tell me what to do. Man, I don't know what to do.
Curious for you, how do you believe that this team will learn from the loss tonight and to hopefully, flip the script moving forward in the next couple of weeks?
I don't know. I mean, they're hurt, which is a good thing. It means something to them, which is a good thing. So when you have that, they'll go back to work and they'll do a good job with that.
I love Sam Pittman. I really do. But when you go like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. And I get like it's not fully on Sam Pittman. It just sometimes you just get unlucky. And Arkansas football is just unlucky, and that's just the reality of it. I really don't think Sam Pittman can change a lot of things. I don't think a change in head coach is going to make these close games, have Arkansas win these close games instead of lose them. I don't know if a different head coach is going to make Jaylen Brown hold on to that football tighter. Maybe it will, and maybe you want to take that side of things, but I'm not. I just think it's the luck of the draw sometimes, and it's the luck of being an Arkansas football fan, is these things just happen. So if I was the head coach, I would be, in my mind, I would be saying those same things. I don't know, man. It just happens, Well, the team will be fine. But you're the head coach, and you have thousands of people watching your press conference, watching every move you make, and it's a lot of pressure. It's a tough job, I'm sure. But at least say something else instead of I don't know multiple times in your 10-minute press conference. Give me something better. So that's that. My rant is over about Sam Pittman. Let's just move on, right? Let's just move on. Red Wolves fans, time to tune back in. Okay, let's talk about Arkansas State. Another one where it's a close game, and you fall in this one, similar to like the Razorbacks did this week as well, but I think you have to be more optimistic as a Red Wolf fan than you are a Razorback fan after this game. You got a top 20 team come to your place. You only lose to them by a touchdown. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Jalen Raynor was pretty good in this game, rushing the ball, passing the ball. Chauncey Cobb, he's been able to find him multiple times. This team just kept hanging around in this game. I was able to watch probably the first half of it and then watch the highlights for the second half. And I was surprised when I looked at my phone and it was like, they're still in this game. They just kept chipping away at that lead. The defense, oh my gosh, much improved. Now, granted, I think Arkansas offense is way better than the Iowa State offense, regardless of that ranking that you see. But the defense for Arkansas State stepping up and making some key stops and keeping this game close, that's good, right? That's what you want to see out of your defense, not what you saw last week getting torched by Taylon Green. So that's good, right? That's a positive. Also positive, the offense was moving. It was clicking, especially in that second half. But just those two drives in the fourth quarter, I think maybe the two of the last three drives, early fourth quarter, a drive that should have scored, that didn't, that settled for a field goal. Another one that they had to get a touchdown, so they went for it on fourth down, maybe 20, 30 yards away from the end zone. They didn't get it. Red zone offense was a concern. I don't know how you fix that going forward. But that was, I don't have a specific stat on that, but it seemed like A-State would move the ball. They would get there, and if they only converted those red zone opportunities to touchdowns, they might have won this game. They were close to knocking off Iowa State. They would have stormed the field. It would have been awesome. It would have been a party in Jonesboro, but they couldn't convert on the red zone offensive attempts. So that's a little bit disappointing. But I think for the most part, you have to have optimism after this game. So some of my brief thoughts on the A-State's game. Let's hear from head coach Butch Jones.
There's no moral victories. Everyone in that locker room hurts. They're disappointed in the outcome. But that's a good football team. You watch and see how well they do this year. And so to have that opportunity to be in the game at the end, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make it a fourth quarter game and get the game in the fourth quarter, and we did that. We just came up short, and we didn't make enough plays at the end. As proud as I am of our players, I'm still disappointed that we didn't take advantage of the opportunity. We put ourselves in a position to really make something happen, and we fell a little short, and that's disappointing. But then, we'll have 24 hours, and then Kennesaw is going to take all that we have and more so to prepare for them.
All right, so hopefully the Red Wolves can rebound and take down Kennesaw State this upcoming weekend. Let's move on quickly to UCA. UCA, a disappointing weekend for them, losing to Tarleton State 56-10, the final score. You see the number 3 ranking, that's FCS rankings. UCA plays in the FCS. They were ranked at parts last year. They're still receiving some votes in the top 25 of the FCS. But this game, UCA, if you want to look at it from a betting perspective, and those of you might know, we have a new betting show that I'm a part of called Let's Bet on Thursdays. You should watch it. It's great, really fun. UCA was a 13-point underdog in this game. So if everything went according to what the betting experts thought that was going to happen, UCA was going to lose by 13 points. They lost by 46. So when I look at that, again, it's always hard to do to predict these games so early on in the year. But this game was supposed to be close. This game was in Conway, and it should have been closer probably. It really hurts when the very first play from scrimmage, your quarterback backs up, running this way, gets hit, fumbles the ball in his own end zone. Tarleton State jumps on it and scores a touchdown, starts out 7-0. It also hurts when you have 2 times that you go for it on 4th down in the first quarter and you don't get it. That loses a lot of momentum that you can potentially have at the start of the game to bring it into the 4th quarter and have a chance. Like Arkansas State, what Butch Jones said when he was interviewed pregame on the field, let's bring this game into 4th quarter and have a shot. That was his goal, it seemed like, and they did. They accomplished that goal. UCA's goal should have been the same, and they fell well short of that. They were down, I think, 21-0, 28-0 later in the second quarter. Not exactly what you want to see. Luther Richardson, 12 for 21, 163 yards, a touchdown, an interception, but I mentioned that fumble. He rushed the ball a few times as well. Landon Chambers kind of never got going for this offense. I think he has a potential to get going. Obviously, it comes down to some defensive issues as well, giving up 56 points. So not exactly what you want to see for UCA. Hopefully they can rebound this was their first conference game of the season. So hopefully they can rebound and continue to get better. It's still early on in the season. They've got so many new players, so we'll have to see. But let's hear from Coach Brown, what he had to say.
We got outclassed tonight, and I'll take it on the chin as the head coach. I got outcoached, and that's unfortunate, and that's a tough pill to swallow, but it's reality. And so, like I told our team, it's my job as the head coach to get it right, and our coaching staff to get it right. We just need our guys to come together and believe in what we're trying to accomplish and do, and adjust and develop, and hopefully improve before a tough game across the country next week, because it doesn't get any easier.
All right, not to disagree with Coach Brown there. Love him, great guy. Interviewed him last week on the show, awesome. Technically, it does get a lot easier. That's the toughest opponent they're going to face the rest of the season. They had Missouri to start the year, top 25 team, UAPB, who they beat easily, which we'll talk about here in a second. And then they had Tarleton State, number 3 team in all of the FCS. The rest of the season, they have a couple other ranked matchups in the FCS world. Nothing is going to be as tough as that Tarleton State team, I don't think. As far as rankings right now, it's not going to be as tough. So hopefully, UCA, hopefully they get better as the season goes along. Their competition will get a little bit easier, so that'll be nice. I mentioned UAPB. Let's talk about them. They got their first win, I think, of the season. Is that right? 1-2, yeah. First win of the season on Saturday with a 34-8 win over Lincoln. Lincoln is a school not in any conference or any division, individuals, like not NCAA or NAIA or Division II, like nothing. So I don't really know what that means exactly. But I know that UAPB won, so that's good, right? You get a win on the schedule, play a little bit of an easier team, rack up some stats. Jalen Jennings for the Golden Lions certainly did that. 26 carries, 226 yards, 4 touchdowns. Christian Peters, QB1, 14 of 23, 182 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. This game wasn't televised. I didn't watch the highlights. I just looked at stats, full transparency. But you don't want to have 3 interceptions, so that's a little disappointing. You also don't want to have 100 penalty yards, 8 penalties, some things that need to be cleaned up going forward. A punt that was blocked, returned for a touchdown. That was Lincoln's only touchdown. You want to clean those things up heading into conference play, but you like what you see out of some of the other things, out of some defensive stops, the great run game from Jalen Jennings. I mean, they had 500 total yards of offense, so that works. Against an opponent and a team that is like kind of not real, let's just take it with a grain of salt. All right, but UAPB wins. They get their first win of the season. Conference play up next. They will host Alcorn State on Saturday. That's enough college football talk. Let's move on to some high school football. In case you missed some key scores from this past Friday night, Bryant stomping Parkview. These are two of the most dominant teams in Arkansas high school football. The Hornets take down the Patriots 49-6. Rogers puts up 84 on Sheridan. That's just what happens when you have a Kevin Kelly team. You're going to never punt. You're going to always go for it. You're going to onside kick. You're going to give up a lot of points. And sometimes those things happen. And it's against a pretty good Rogers team with Jeff Reagan at quarterback. So we'll see what the Mounties can do this season. Not a tough one for Sheridan, for 6A facing 7A. So I want to be too discouraged if you're a Yellow Jacket fan out there. Conway getting the shutout win. Great defensive effort up in the Northeast, taking down Marion 19-0 with their backup quarterback. Arkadelphia coming back to take down Lake Hamilton 36-28. The Badgers are the team to beat in the Class 4A, so that's really exciting. Greenbrier, Enoch Hassan taking down Van Buren 48-34. Man, I need to do the math on what the Panthers are averaging points per game, because they are on fire offensively right now. So that's good to see. Maumelle taking down Bologna 38-24. Pine Bluff keeping it close with Camden Fairview, but the Cardinals ultimately winning by 4. Jyoti Robinson and Hot Springs Lakeside, that was our game of the week. It was, I think a little closer in the first half. Tyler was it more at this game than I was, but Senators 35-16 win over Lakeside. So again, Parkview, Robinson, Lakeside, those are the teams to look out for in the Class 5A. I got a feeling that the Senators and the Rams are going to meet again come playoff time. Stuttgart and Malvern. How about the Ricebirds taking down Malvern 49-14. Mount Ida over Jesseville by a touchdown. Bismarck taking down Glen Rose 48-21. Fordyce continuing to roll in the 3A with a 51-0 shutout over Mineral Springs. Desart taking down Baldwin 46-14. Atkins shutting out Conway Christian. Atkins, it's a 3A team. Conway Christian's a 2A. Conway Christian 1-2 to start the season after an undefeated state championship season from 1 year ago. Baptist Prep just falling short to Mountainburg 27-25. Those are some of the key scores. If you might have missed it from this past Friday night, something you also might have missed is our Sweetest Play nominees. All right. Come on, which team's gonna get some ice cream? Arkadelphia. Our first nomination, Bryson McCoy, 3rd and long. Caden Whitaker. I don't know if it's a wide receiver. I don't know if it's a running back. I'm not really sure. But it's pretty impressive. Like, I know he doesn't go that far, but look, he's about to fall down, puts one hand on the Wolves defender, pops right back up, and then gets himself a few extra yards. Arkadelphia would later score on that drive. Nomination number 2, Bryant. Parkview, the Hornets. Kyler Shelby, 72-yard bomb. Give it to Caleb Tucker and watch him go. The speedster finds the end zone, and the Hornets picking up a big win Friday night against Parkview. What a play there. 72 yards to the house. All right, nomination number 3, our final nomination, maybe the best if I were to choose. Isaiah Howell. How about 1, 2, 3? There's 4 missed tackles. He stays on his feet, the 20, the 10, touchdown. How about Sylvan Hills, 3-0 for the first time in nearly a decade. Let's watch it one more time from Isaiah Howell. Moving to his left, breaks 1 tackle, then a second, then a third. The 4th guy doesn't even know what to do. And then he's off to the races and finds the end zone. How about the Bears? Like I said, 3-0 for the first time in nearly a decade. Those are the sweetest plays of the week. Make sure to go vote on our website right now. All right, our Lutties Legend of the Week. My Lutties Legend of the Week is a Golden Lion, a UAPB Golden Lion. Now, did you listen close enough? Did you know who it was? It's Jalen Jennings. Guys, I've never even heard of this guy. He played at Bowling Green a couple seasons ago. Now he's with UAPB, so a step down, but he's showing that he can go back and play at a more competitive level if he plays like this. Again, take into account the opponent that UAPB played. But to be honest, I'm just going to be honest with you guys, I didn't think there was many opportunities in the future that I'm going to give this award to a UAPB Golden Lion. This was the week to do it. And Jalen Jennings, when you run for over 200 yards and when you have 4 touchdowns, that's how you earn my Legend of the Week. All right, finally, my Lutties look ahead for the Arkansas Razorbacks. You got to win this one. You head to Memphis, Tennessee, back to the Liberty Bowl Stadium, an early morning kickoff. You drive down there early, I'm guessing, or drive up there or over there, whatever, on Saturday morning. You got to win this one. It's a must win. If you lose this, you're 2-2, heading into the Notre Dame game, kind of feeling lackadaisical. Not much is going right. If you give up more than 35 points to this Memphis offense that's not that good, Travis Williams should be out the door. If you win, that's good. You did what you're supposed to do, and then you face Notre Dame the next week. So hopefully the Hogs aren't looking on to the Fighting Irish quite yet. They got to take down the Memphis Tigers this Saturday, 11 a.m. on ABC. Hogs are currently about a touchdown favorite, according to Bet Saracen. Well, that's going to do it for another lovely episode of Lutties Look Back. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this show and for keeping in touch. We talked about all the teams in our area. We didn't get to talk about GAC football. Don't forget, Harding fans, I'm still looking out for you guys. Hopefully talk about that in the coming weeks, have some standings, and talk about Division II football, right? Because it's football season. We're talking everything football. A lot of college, a lot of high school. We'll get to NFL, we'll get to the GAC, and some shows later on. But that's going to do it for this week's show. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you same time, same place next week.